Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 163 of the Kiss Army Nation podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Pasquale Vari.
And I am Claudio Spera. Welcome to the show, everyone.
So it all started when I purchased this bootleg album from a local record store in Montreal. The question was, is that Gene and Spiro? Wrong question to ask. The question was, who did the original artwork? So it turned out to be our next guest. And when I found that out, I felt it necessary to make sure that Kiss Army knows who this man is and that his work be recognized. So let's learn more about the man in Dress to Kill, New Jersey, and his amazing artwork. Kiss Army, let's welcome Guido Basile. Thank you for coming on the show, my friend.
Well, thank you for having me, man.
Great to have you, Guido, and a pleasure to meet you. So we're so happy to have you.
Yes, I'm flattered. I just can't believe it. I did those pictures many years ago.
Yeah.
What would you like to know about it? I'm confused on one note. When I saw it posted, Spiro was mentioned. I know Spiro.
Yeah.
We've crossed paths many times. Did you think it was a picture of him and Gene, or
because there was a picture circulating of him and Gene?
Yeah, that was a photograph. This is a painting. But
I thought it was like a variation of it or whatever. So I thought that's where that came from.
Oh, I got you.
And then you said, "Hey, whoa, no, I did that, and
no, you know what? That I did that many years. Well, you could tell by the costume, so it was around that era.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I didn't, when I originally did the painting, I didn't want to use, I wasn't a big fan of the costumes post makeup,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He had that bunny rabbit thing going on with,
right.
I was kind of commissioned to do it. The person wanted me to do that picture, so I did it. And then it just followed. I did the rest of them. And eventually I made some prints of it. I made copies of it for my portfolio because at the time I was a freelance artist, illustrator. So I needed to make prints to put in my portfolio because back then you didn't carry around original art.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You made prints of your art and you put it in there. And everybody loved it so much, all my family, my friends, they wanted copies of it. So I made a print for my portfolio, prints for my portfolio, and of all the members, and I made some 8x10s to give out to people that I knew, and I ended up selling some at a convention, and I think that's how it got bootlegged.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
So,
probably.
And that's how that and over the years. I mean, it's amazing to me that it expanded so far and wide, but I can't explain it any other way, how it got bootlegged.
Interesting.
Other than that.
Really interesting. Guido, let's how about if we start from the beginning? So how did you first discover Kiss? And actually, what inspired you to be in a Kiss tribute band?
Well, God, I'm almost 62 now. I was about 12, so that's a long time ago. I guess it was about 1975. I saw an album cover. The Kiss Alive album was presented to me by, whether it was friends or it's so long ago, or cousins. I can't remember exactly. But I was totally taken back with it, and I was an artist, a kid. I was like mesmerized by it all because I was into comics and horror comics and whatnot, horror movies. So it was just like a perfect mixture with the music and everything. And I think the first time I saw them was in '77. I remember seeing them in Philadelphia at the Spectrum in '77 and '78. It was like back to back. It was like December of '77 and '78 in concert. And I was just done. I was like, oh my God, these guys are incredible. And it just inspired me to do so much art. They inspired me so much, even though I was doing it already, because I was like a horror comic kind of kid. They just my imagination just went wild with it, and I just couldn't get enough of it. As far as the tribute band, that came a lot later. Well, maybe not that much later, but I guess when they took the makeup off.
Okay.
I guess it was about what was that, 83, 84?
83, yeah,
Yeah.
83.
Yeah, I was about 20, 21. No. Wait, 83. Yeah, I was about 20, 21. A friend of mine, we were able to drink and go out clubbing at that age. And it's like, I think 18 was the limit back then, and then it changed to 21. But we were there. He said, "Let's go to this." Like it was a Halloween party and at a club, and he said, "Let's go as Gene and Paul." And he was a convincing Paul, and I was a convincing Gene. But anyway, I said, "Look, I just don't want to put makeup on and a t-shirt. I want to do it like crazy. I want to go all out." And I'm an artist, so I mean, and you couldn't buy Kiss costumes back then. I mean, there was no, any, Halloween costumes or anything to buy. So I literally had to make everything, and I was able to do it because I was an artist. And I think I got pretty damn close as far as at the time period and whatnot. I mean, you couldn't buy platform shoes back then. We made them out of like cork or 2x4s or something. It was crazy. I actually made it out of a leather coat, my costume. And let me tell you, we did the Halloween show, and we were like, we won the contest, and it was like, ever since then, it was like all out forward. It got better and better every time. Every time I did it, it got better and better. And eventually we tried to do the Kiss, with actual members playing. But it was so hard to find guys that would play, that fit the part and could play.
Yeah.
And the band, and then I saw bands, and you got to remember the time period. There was no internet or, it was just word of mouth. There was a handful of bands at the time. I remember that there was Strutter, Alive, Spiro's band, Cold Gin. I think that was Tommy Thayer's band.
Yeah.
It was only a Strutter. I'm saying there was only a handful of guys doing it. And I wanted to do a Destroyer show, which nobody was doing because they just weren't. I mean, and like I said, don't hold me. There may have been guys doing it, but I didn't know about it because of the time period. But I think that's what set us apart was the Destroyer stage and what.
Okay.
But it took a long time to find guys that fit the part. I mean, I did a series from 80, like I said, from 84 to, I think the first Kiss convention that I can recall was like in 87 in Jersey. I think that might have been the first one. They may have been in other places, but anyway, that was the first I remember. We started doing the conventions, just appearing as impersonators. That's what it was called back then. There was no, like, I didn't hear tribute band or play. It was just impersonators. So we got billed as impersonators, just showing up. But me and the drummer, we always looked for guys that we could perform with, but they either had it or they didn't. They either looked good or couldn't play, or they could play but didn't look at the part. And it was so hard. And finally, we met a couple guys, and it just all fell together. And like I said, it got better and better and better. But that's how that all started.
Any reason why, Guido, you kind of selected the full Destroyer era stage?
Yeah, at that time, no, it was my favorite time period. And a lot of people, as far as the tribute bands, weren't doing it. It was more or less Alive costumes, and that's not to say that they weren't doing it, but I just didn't see it. Like the bands that I was looking at weren't doing it.
Okay.
I had made two stages of when I first started. I made the Alive and Hotter Than Hell costumes when I first started, and then went to the Destroyer show, and that's what. I mean, it was a labor of love. I mean, it was an incredible experience for me over the I guess a 10-year period. It was great.
Okay.
So, Guido, for you, what was the most challenging part of replicating a KISS stage show and music?
Well, again, trying to find the right guys to fit the part was the most challenging. You tried to get the sound, a guy that could sing like Paul. Paul is so hard to replicate.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of guys doing it and they sound really good. I mean, I know all the tribute bands. I've seen them over the years. They know me. But it was so hard to find guys to fit. That was the most challenging part.
Well, because being a musician, do you find it difficult, not adding a bit of your spin to the KISS sound? Or did you feel
I didn't want to add my spin to it.
Okay.
I was a purist, and I'll touch base on that right now. And I was out. It was my band. I gotta say, it was my band from the start because I had the artistic ability to bring it all together, and I handpicked everybody. But I was outvoted. It was, I was outvoted 3-1. As far as I was a purist. I wanted to stick to a certain time period. And they wanted to add elements of acoustics, which at that time in the 90s, KISS came out with that acoustic unplugged set. And they wanted to incorporate that into it, which we did. And I didn't want to do it because that wasn't true to the time period. They didn't do acoustics in, 75, 76, 77. You know what I'm saying? So we kind of strayed from that and did that. But that would be the influence, what you're saying, as far as adding our own element to it, but not my element. I wanted to stick to hardcore, early stuff of that time period. Our band was noted for our stage show, presence of it, and our performance. That's the one thing we really went overboard on, and I paid the price for it. Believe me, was the athletics of it all. I mean, I was doing bullfrog leaps. He was the best Paul Stanley ever. I don't know if you've ever seen our videos. I mean, I'm going to pat myself on the back on that note that we were like a very high octane performing band.
Guido, what is if you could pick one show or one experience, what's the most memorable show that you have had with your tribute band?
Well, there's a lot, but I would have to say, Great Adventure. We did a show at Great Adventure in New Jersey, Six Flags. It was actually endorsed by KISS. So what happened was we got contacted by the concert promoter in Philadelphia, which was Larry Maggot, and they said that they needed costumes. And I'm like, well, how did you find out about us? And they said, well, we found out through the KISS order, because they didn't know who to, so they resorted back to the KISS organization to supply information. Because like I said, this is a different time period, there was no internet and whatnot. So we were kind of flattered to hear that. And the record stations in the area all promoted us along with that whole scheme. And we ended up getting a promotional gig for the show in that area to perform at Six Flags. So that was a very memorable moment. We're very flattered for that. But that would probably be the heyday. But we got invited to the Kiss Unplugged on MTV. We were there for that.
Wow.
Nice.
We also got invited to do several shows on. Remember the concert, the convention tour that Kiss did?
Yep.
We got invited to do a couple shows for that, but that kind of fell through. We couldn't put it together. But that was like the pinnacle of it, you know. But it was a labor of love, all of it. I mean, everything. Even my art, it was a labor of love. I mean, I don't make much money at all doing this, and we certainly didn't make really any money with the tribute band. It was more or less just, I don't know how we even did it, because we just had a love for it. Everybody involved wanted to do it. It wasn't about money. I mean, we generated a lot of money for the shows, but it all went out. We had our own, it was like a tour. I mean, we didn't tour, but we probably did a show a month. It was like kind of like that. We weren't on the road touring the country like some tribute bands like Strutter and whatnot, but who are still touring, by the way. But we had our own lighting company. We had our own sound company, and that all had to get paid. We had our own, road crew, so to speak. The road crew. My tech guy made more money than I did. I think I had enough money at the end of each show to go to the diner and get a meal.
Right.
And that was it. I swear to God, I swear. I never got a paycheck. It was all for the fun of it, man. And everybody enjoyed it. And everybody showed up. You would think that like, oh, this one canceled, or, the sound guy didn't show up, but they all had a good time. They loved us. We were easy to work with. Everybody had a good time, man. And we paid them to show up. So, every guy got $100 to show up that night. They got free beer, hanging out and, whatever. So it was never a bad moment. It was just nothing but fun.
But that's why you guys were a good band. It's because you did it for fun. You did it out of passion and a love for the music, not for the money.
No, exactly. It was, I can't speak for anybody else, but that's why we did it. It was just it was an extreme hobby.
Yeah.
It's the only way I could say it. It was an extreme hobby.
Speaking of passion, let's turn to your art. That's another one of your big passions. So tell us a little bit about your artistic background and how you got into creating Kiss-inspired artwork.
Well, they were there. I mean, early on in life, I guess they were there from the beginning. I mean, I always drew as a child prior to Kiss, but they kind of launched something in me, and I my mother helped me with a lot of that. But Kiss inspired me so much. I mean, I draw them to this day. I have so many paintings. I mean, hundreds of paintings. If you go to my Facebook page, you only see a few. I don't post everything. But I have so many. And I don't know what to do with them, I'll be honest with you. I have no idea. I was inspired, the painting behind me, if you could see it.
Yeah.
I had it in Facebook. You commented on it because I said it was a McFarlane inspired piece. It wasn't just him, it was Ken Kelly that inspired me to do that. Did you ever hear of the artist Frank Frazetta?
Yep.
Okay. And he's ties in with Ken Kelly.
With Ken Kelly, of course. Yeah.
But those two guys were like one of my earliest influences. Yeah. Frank Frazetta and then Ken. Actually, Frank Frazetta first and then Ken, because I was into horror and whatnot with Eerie magazine, and they were like eerie horror comics, creepy. So I was into Frazetta at a very early age, and then once Ken Kelly hit with the Destroyer album cover, I didn't know at the time that they had ties. and I'm sure you know the story behind all that, but they were two major influences for me with my art as far as Kiss. But I can't stop painting them. I don't know why. I just
Well, that's your passion, right? That's
yeah, it is. It is a passion, and I mostly paint Gene. I just made an impact on me in my life, and I got to meet him many times. But maybe one day you'll get to see a lot of my artwork. I just don't post a lot. It gets stolen a lot, you know, and I don't have a problem with that. You know, people, if they make money at it or whatever. The only problem I have is that if I created it, they put their name to it. They say,
yeah, they don't give you credit. Yeah.
And that's all I want. I'd rather have the credit than the money. You know what I'm saying? You know, because I do this, I do it for fun mostly. And I have made money in the past. I used to airbrush a lot of t-shirts.
Okay.
And I would do Kiss conventions and sell t-shirts. But it was, you know, if I didn't go as a vendor, I was going to the show anyway.
Right.
So I might as well make a little money to cover my expenses, you know. But at the time in the 90s, I was extensively doing airbrush artwork on t-shirts, but they weren't prints or anything. They were each individually handmade, and they were kind of pricey, but you know, they did sell, but not as well as you would think. They just didn't. Yeah.
Did you ever consider doing prints of your artwork?
Yeah, but you know, you got to be careful with copyright. I mean, Kiss is stacked up with that. You know, they're not only are they copyrighted, they're trademarked, and they're probably patented. You know, the problem lies is not so much with individual art paintings. You know, the copyright laws are very vague. You know, you can get away with a few prints, you know, which is, I fall under the radar because I don't if I make prints, I make them for friends, give them away. I have people contact me for charity events. I give, like I said, I give a lot away. I probably give more away than I sell, but I don't really make prints. I sell original artwork. Okay. So I'm kind of in the safety zone there with that. I have a whole art career besides the Kiss stuff. I mean, the Kiss is just the tip of the iceberg. But I have a whole art career prior to the Kiss. But I never really made money with the Kiss art.
But that's just it. Aren't you also into cryptozoology?
Yeah, that too. I tapped into that accidentally about I guess it was around COVID period. A girl I was seeing at the time was into paranormal stuff. So I was on YouTube searching paranormal information. And then just all this, and you know how it segues into different categories. And then Bigfoot started popping up on my YouTube. I'm like, well, I remember that guy. So I started listening to podcasts, and I kind of got interested in listening to them. If you ask me if I believe in it, I don't. But it's just an interesting, you know, subject, and it's an interesting subject to paint. And I've painted many of Sasquatch. I eventually I had so much stuff, I didn't really know how to, you know, I didn't want to like just throw it on Facebook, so I contacted some of the leading researchers in the field, and I only knew of them because I started listening to different podcasts. And you got to understand my life. I'm listening to Kiss podcasts and I'm painting Kiss. I'm listening to Bigfoot and I'm painting Bigfoot. So it's like I'm listening to all these different people, and you know, and I'm all these stories and it inspires me to do these things. Different scenarios, people's different experiences that they had with meeting this animal. You know, I'm drawing them on paper. So I'm like getting all the feedback. They're supplying me with all this information, and I'm putting it on paper and paintings. And I even dabbled in computer art. But I contacted this leading researcher out in Seattle, and I ended up giving him a bunch of stuff. I said, "Look, I'm not selling anything." I contacted him Messenger on Facebook. I said, "Look, I have all this Bigfoot stuff." I said, "I'm not looking for money. I'm not selling anything. All I want is if you use my art to give me a credit for it. Put my name on there.
Mhm.
You know, use my name. You can have it free. Use my name. Give me the credit." And you know, it worked for a little while, and then sure enough,
Yeah.
the name starts disappearing. And you make a phone call. "Hey, what's up, man?" And I understand he's not the one running the show. He's the host of the show. He's got people under him. And then they start changing the artwork, and it's like, so it turns into a big fiasco.
So Guido, now I want to go back to what we started discussing at the beginning of the episode about those paintings you did with the Kiss characters and their alter egos. So
Yeah.
what were you attempting to achieve with those particular pieces?
The Now and Then, I called it. It was, at that time, I thought it was a good idea. Kiss with the makeup, Kiss without the makeup, put them together. And you know why I did it originally, how it originally started? We were going to a Kiss show at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, and I did this painting of Gene Simmons, like you say it, and I took it to the show. Now, me and my friend were front row, dressed as Gene and Paul in the Alive costumes, and they came out, saw us. They were like, "Holy crap, look at these guys." And I had the painting, and about midway through the show, I pulled it out and showed it to Gene, and he grabbed it out of my hands and was holding it up, and everybody's going nuts. Paul grabbed it. They were looking at it, and Paul ended up putting it under his mic stand. And I have pictures of all this, of this painting under his mic stand from the show. And at the end of the show, somebody grabbed one of the roadies came out, grabbed the painting, and just whizzed it out into the audience. So somebody's got that.
Oh.
But then what happened was, a few years later, I did it again with the Gene and the rest of the band. Upon request, I was commissioned to do it, and that's how it followed. I made prints for myself and some friends, and sold some at a Kiss convention.
When I released, or when I put up the my bootleg on online, Matt Porter and I started talking, and your name came up. You were on his show, The Kiss Room, when he did a birthday special on Gene Simmons, and he called you a super talented artist. So, it was funny because when I posted this bootleg, all of a sudden you started getting messages or posts about, "Oh, this is your artwork. This is really cool. We want to see more." So, after seeing fans' reaction to that, are you considering any plans, again, to make prints, maybe even a book about this, putting it out there? Because I think fans want to see it.
I would love to. And I would do it for practically free. I would do it it just that, you got to understand, like I touched base, with copyrights and whatnot. And I don't even know what's happening now, because I from what I understand, Kiss sold all their rights.
Yeah.
So I don't even know whose hands it's in now. I've tried, in the Kiss circle, I've tried to reach out to certain people. And at the time, my best chance was through licensing it. But they weren't accepting anything other than the images that they were presenting. So it was like a dead end for me.
The best person to talk to about this, Julian Gill.
I don't know who that is.
From FAQ podcast. He does a lot of books. And from my understanding, as this is your artwork, as long as you don't put the Kiss logo, I think you're good. And if you sell limited editions, you don't sell 1,000, you sell like a limited 300 copies. I think you'd be good. But Julian Gill, talk to him. He could give you some great advice.
I will look into that because I have a body of work that's you know, if anybody would be interested in it, you know,
Yeah.
I
Of
would like to
course.
show it, you know.
Guido, so let me go back for a moment, with what you were saying, that a lot of your work has been bootlegged. So just, we were discussing with Pasca when we were thinking of having you on the show, and what can we do as Kiss fans? Because we buy a lot of stuff, okay? What can we do to better support, artists like you, and not feed this machine of bootleggers, without knowing it? Because sometimes we buy without knowing, and then we end up in a trap. So what do you think we could do as Kiss fans to better
I, you
support
know,
guys like you?
I don't know. I really don't know. I have no idea because it's so easy to do it with, you can take a signature off of a painting and put your own on, or just delete it, period. Um, it's just the nature of the business. It's always been that way. And it's not just art, it's music too. Look at the music industry, what's happened to it,
Right.
I mean, it's just decimated as far as, I mean, I remember the days of albums and, even CDs, but it's like now it's like you don't even, just you don't have to buy it. You just,
That's
copy
true.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just the nature of the business. I don't know how to get around that. At this stage of my life, I'm just at that point where I've done so much, and you know, I've given so much away, and I have a lot. It's just a passion of creating is what I have.
Yeah, yeah,
Guido, you seem to me to be a very humble person. And I think the problem is that when you put something out there and it's no longer promoted, it's forgotten. And then someone sees it, it goes, oh, this is cool, puts it
Yeah.
out there, and people think it belongs to them. Don't be
Could
shy,
be.
man. Promote your stuff out there. Show people your skills. Show people what you've done. I think Kiss fans like us, for example, want to see this, want to see more of it, and we want to support the artists in any way that we can. But we need to see it out there constantly. Never stop, man, because it deserves to be seen and recognized.
The last show I did, it was a Kiss Expo, and I went there to showcase my art. And I had those 4 paintings in tow, those original paintings, the ones that we've been discussing with
yeah.
that makeup, and I had them in tow, framed perfectly, and they weren't. I had a few. I had a part of a Kiss collection that I was selling, but I was really there to showcase my art, just to showcase it. And I had some prints, but I didn't have anything advertised as far as price or anything. And this guy came up to me and saw my paintings, and he wanted to buy them. He goes, "Are they for sale?" I'm like, "I guess, yeah," but I wasn't planning on selling them. I had them for 30 years, these paintings. I had them for 30 years. And I guess the deciding factor was the money that I spent that weekend, for the 3-day, hotel stay and and whatnot. But I ended up selling them. I sold them. People were upset with me that I sold them, but I said, you know what? I had them for so long. Let somebody else enjoy them. And this guy really wanted them. He really wanted them, and I wanted him to have them. So we came up with a price, and I sold them. And I hadn't signed them. I never signed those paintings, and he wanted me to sign them. But they were framed up, and we didn't have the time. I said, look, I can't. By the time we break all these frames out and take them out of the framing and all I put them in there so I know what it would take to get them out. I said, look, I can't do this in this time frame comfortably. So he actually invited me to his home him and his wife, and I went there and I signed them. I think they might have taken them out. I can't remember if I took them out with them, but I ended up finally signing those paintings after 30 years. So I don't know of any events coming up because I would love to take my artwork to them. Is there anything in the works? No.
Nothing that I've heard of.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I haven't really heard anything post COVID. Has there been?
We've been talking about it, Claudio and I. We even had an episode about Kiss Expos, and we've heard nothing. And maybe Kiss Expos have been replaced by Kiss auctions. It's more lucrative.
I think so
for people.
Yeah.
Neil Davis, who does these big type events like Creatures Fest. It's more about the shows than it is about the vendors and the selling. How do you top something like that?
Yeah.
So now that Kiss hit the end of the road, we need more expos. We need more excuses for fan gatherings.
Yeah.
That's how to keep a legacy alive. And without expos, forget Pop House and all this stuff. The legacy dies if Kiss fans can't come together.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how this new era is going to work out. If I can put my 2 cents in.
Yeah.
I was at the last Kiss show in New York. Were you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were there.
Yeah.
I was blown away by the
avatars.
The avatars, yeah. I was blown away by them. I thought it was brilliant. I didn't necessarily, and I guess it's coming for selfish reasons because I'm an artist and I saw the possibilities there.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't particularly happy with the likenesses, but I mean that all could be worked out, and I would hope it would be. But I think that's such a good avenue for them. I mean, Kiss is about that fantasy, like this painting behind me. It's kind of avatarish of what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I was a fan of the Kiss comics. I think they were done by McFarlane. I'm not sure exactly because it's been a while since I've looked at them, but I was inspired by those comics. I mean, not so much in the story or the literature of it, but the imagery of it. And the imagery that you can get with these avatars, it's unbelievable what you can get, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And you tie that in with the music. I heard that ABBA had a show at the Sphere in Vegas, I think it was.
No, they have their, I forget
London.
where it is. Yeah, it's in London. They have their own
Maybe,
facility for their shows.
I don't know the background of it, but I heard about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure where it was at. I thought it might have been the Sphere.
Well, they say it's amazing. They say
Yes,
it's
and I heard that was part of the inspiration behind it. I didn't see it, but I heard it was astounding. So, hopefully they they got the green light for me for that. I would pay money to go see something like that. I would. I mean, come on, it's not Kiss, but it's it's keeping it alive, and I think that's what they want,
So, it's Guido, it's interesting. We're talking about this. How do you see your artwork contributing to the larger Kiss legacy? Would you like, for instance, to have the chance to work with the band maybe during the Avatar, era, or how do you see yourself, keeping the flame alive?
That would be. I would love to be involved with something like that. And I always wanted to be a part of Kiss in that way. It just didn't work out for me.
Okay.
I just didn't know the avenues to travel to get to that point. But I always wanted to produce for Kiss. And not necessarily for a dollar value, just for recognition.
Yeah.
And whatnot. I spoke to Ken Kelly. I got to speak to him. I was on a Kiss cruise, and it was in New Orleans, and I got to speak to him for a while, and we talked. And I asked him how much he made off the Destroyer album, and he
Mhm.
told me, I'm not going to say what he made, but he told me the price, and I was blown away. But at that time, it was a lot of money, but
Mhm.
he said it really wasn't about the money. He knew it was going to be the exposure that he was going to get.
Right.
So it really wasn't. He goes, no, it wasn't a lot of money. It was kind of a lot of money back then, but he goes, it really wasn't about the money. It was about the exposure I was going to get. And, you know, so that's how I kind of look at it. It's not really
Mhm.
about the money. It's about just getting my stuff out there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you like Guido to share with us and our audience any upcoming projects that you're working on or something that you have in mind? So what does the future hold for you?
You know, I'm always working on something, whether it be Kiss or, I don't have the time right now as much as I'd like to invest into it, but I, I'm looking at paintings across the room right now that I actually bought an airbrush. I haven't used an airbrush in a while, that I want to do this painting of Gene that I'm working on. It's a big painting. I'm looking at it right now. I got about a half a dozen of them sitting there that I want to get done. I'm always working on something with Kiss, a project. And I'm always, hey, if somebody said to me, yo, I want this done or I want that done, I would do it,
Mhm.
But I don't get those kind of calls.
I was thinking as you were talking, you said that you have so much stuff. Why don't you never thought of going into an auction and put your stuff out there?
No, I've tried to sell paintings on eBay. Um, and they just don't go anywhere. I mean, I don't want to give them away per se, I'll give them away for the right cause or to the right person.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm not going to do a painting, and sell it for $200 and it's going to be 150 for shipping. You know what I mean? I'm not going to make,
Yeah.
because it's not worth it for me
Right.
to do that. You see, so I've tried to sell paintings, and I don't think my paintings are out of the ballpark priced, but they just don't move. I don't think people are buying art like they used to. When you can take a screenshot and use it as wallpaper or put it on your phone, or you can take a picture of it and go to any print shop or photo lab and get a poster made of it or a mural for that matter.
Cool.
So why pay me, $500 for an original piece of artwork, But I've as far as an auction setting, it's a live auction. I don't, are you talking about a live auction like a?
Yeah, there's a huge community that over the past years that there's so many Kiss fans out there looking for stuff. But I don't know, it was just an idea, but of course you know better.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know better. Like I said, I've tried to sell stuff on eBay. It just hasn't worked. I've never tried an auction setting. Maybe I will. I'm just, like I said, I'm an artist. I'm not a
Right. Yeah.
promoter of it. I don't know how to go. I am so bad with the computer. I'm an old head that, I mean, I got a phone, but I make minimal phone calls and, I take pictures. It's like a phone camera. That's all it is. I don't really do anything with the computer really. So I don't know how to access I'm 62. I'm like, I don't know. Right. My life. I just have all this artwork and I'm like, what do I do with it?
I always thought that I'm still thinking that, there's a high value for original artwork. It's not the same as prints. It's not the same as, but you said it's true. So you can have a snapshot on your phone and go and have a poster made. But, there's nothing like the original stuff that someone, put their time and effort and passion and for painting it, that's irreplaceable. And, just to kind of wrap up the episode, it's been It's been a true pleasure to have you on the show. It's amazing what you do, and so happy to have the chance to see you and meet you, and hopefully, in the near future, we can cross paths, personally, and it could be awesome to see what you have. So amazing.
I can't. It was nice meeting you both, and I can't thank you enough for having me on here and talking about this and hearing me out. It's a great, and I can't wait to meet you guys. I really, it'd be a nice experience.
Mm-hmm.
And if anything in the future, let me know. Give me a call. Holler out to me.
Will do.
No, Guido, I feel really good about this episode because this is what we do. We promote fans, we promote what they do, we promote their passions, and your work needs to be out there. It needs to be known, and people need to know that it's coming from you. So I hope this episode did that job, and I hope people watch this episode and gets to know you a little bit better and gains a little bit more interest in what you do, because you do such amazing work. And this is exactly what KISS fans love to see and love to have. So, after this episode, man, we can talk. We're going to find ways to get your stuff out there and promoted. And maybe, I know it's about the passion, it's not about the money, but making some money from what you do, because you deserve every accolade you can get from the amazing work that you do.
Well, I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much.
Our absolute pleasure, my friend.
All righty.
So, to the KISS Army, we hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please send them to talktome@kissarmynationpodcast.com. Until the next time, remember, never stop rocking. Take care, everyone. If you enjoyed this episode, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and X. You can watch us on YouTube or listen to us on Podomatic, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. This is about you, so please like and subscribe to support the amazing guests we have on the show. See you soon, KISS Army.